So yesterday we were looking at the debugging part. So let's take a small recap of what debugging is and what are the advantages that we have. And also probably we have seen only a part of the debugging, not completely. So we were seeing options like log. So we actually have seen all parts of debugging. So let's go ahead and see highlight activities. So this was XAML that we were referring to. So if you see, if you want to highlight each and or know each and every activity the moment that it is executing, and you want to know how and when what activity is executing and when it is failing, in that case you can use this highlight activities alone. So let's just do a rerun of that. So you have to give debug, not run. Please remember that. And this slow step will slow down the execution of your process. It will have a delay by default in between execution of two different activities. So let us use that and say debug. So if you see the yellow one, whatever is getting highlighted is the activity that is being executed actually. This is your design, and then you have a problem, and the problem is very specifically, if you see, it tells the problem is in this specific activity. Let me give an okay. Right. So if you see it tells the error is exactly from this specific activity. Why is that? Because we have tried to do this on purpose. Okay, this is the outline. Let me just go to click. Properties. So if you go to your properties and see, I just added extra strings here to make sure that it fails there, right? So let me remove that and keep it as just a value that could be transferred. Sorry, it should not be run. In fact, it should have been debug, right? So let us give a debug. So here, if you see, you can watch the control going step by step. So now you are in assign 0 to A. Okay, and then inside this if there is a message box, and then you go back. So this is assign, this is another assign, and then you have a message box, right? Okay, so the next thing that you can use is log activities. So this would in fact log each and every activity that is getting executed when you debug. So when you debug, you see that you get logs activated for each and every activity that is getting executed. Okay, so now if you go to your output and see, so these are the logs that have been created. So you can see each and every activity getting logged here. So the execution will start from your demo. Demo is your complete project name, and then you have your highlight activities demo, that is this, and then you have your sequence, that is this, and then you have your assign 0 to A. So then you will have each and every activity listed out as a part of your output sequence, right? So if anything fails in this case, so let me say just as the error whatever we had, so let me just add some random variables here at the rate and hash. So I give an okay. So now this I would not be able to convert to a string, right? Or sorry, integer. So when I run this, you have an exception. So now you are able to know this exception because it is not inside a try catch. So let us use a try catch. Okay, so let us create a catch and say system not exception, and then give a small log message or a write line. Error is, and then plus exception dot message, right? Oh, just a minute. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is a sequence which is in a try catch. So now when you debug this, you will not have a message box which tells that there is this error and all that stuff. Okay. And it says that your execution is closed. So whatever message box that you had inside your try have not come up at all. So you don't know which of this has failed. It could have been this assign a to 0, a to a, 0 to a, or convert an int to and assign, or whatever could have failed. We don't know because everything is in a try catch. But if you go to your output and see, it will very clearly tell you. So your highlight activity has been executed. Highlight activities demo. So what is your highlight activities demo? That is this, right? And then you have a try catch. That is this try catch. Inside this try catch, you have a sequence. So this is the sequence, right? So this is a sequence, and then you have your what was that? Inside your sequence, you have assign 0 to a. So you have this assign 0 to a executing and closed, and then it clearly tells convert to int and assign faulted, right? So whatever you see here, so this when you enable this log activities, it will very specifically load or have the logs for the files that are failing at particular stage. So though you have them inside a try catch or nested try catch or anything, you will have specific details to that specific activity telling what has faulted and what has not. So post this fault, everything else would be just cancelled. So if you see sequence cancelled and then error in putting input string, and then this is the write line, and then you have your highlight activities, and so first your try catch will be closed, and then you have your highlight activities demo closed, and then you have your highlight activities demo that is ended, and your demo project has ended. So if you see here, you will have each and every specific activity that has been running and will give you the details of what exactly has faulted and why, right? So this is very similar to having a try catch and a log message box, but instead here you can very specifically know what exactly has faulted and at what point of time and where. Is that clear? If people are clear with this, then let's move forward. We have other things to see. Yes, are people comfortable with this debugging? Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. And then let's get forward and see this user activities. Okay, so the next important thing is user activities. So what are these user activities? So from the name, can you infer something? What is an user activity? So whatever the user or the client or the end user does, trying to catch or handle those activities is called a user activities, right? So for example, I build this robot and then I deploy it to somewhere else. So anything that the user is doing, capturing that part is handled by these user activities, right? Good. So let us go and see what the user activities have. So it says on click element. So let us see what this is. So I have a click. Let me say I want to click on this book one. So you have this click trigger. So what does this do? So you have this click, and then let me delete this and say Hey, you clicked on book 1.xlsx. Are you sure you want to open it or select it? Right? So now if you see, there is one small message box would give which tells you, hey, you clicked on book 1.xlsx. Are you sure you want to select it? So let me save this, and when I run, now the robot is running. Yep. So it is running, and now when I try to go and click on something, so let me say I want to click on my book one. Click on book one. Click on that. Okay, I click on that. I click on that. I'm supposed to get a message box, but it isn't coming. Okay, let us see what happens. I double click on that, it opens. Okay, we are supposed to have a message box. Once we click on that, that is not happening. Let us go back and see what is. Click trigger. It says include children and selector is there. Yes. This is a message box. Okay. Okay. Save and run. Okay, the robot is up now. Let me click on this. Still doesn't give me that, right? Okay, so there's some problem. Let me try to fix that. This click that is saved. Okay, let's first try to fix it here. Okay, now the robot is up. Click and refresh. Okay, this is actually adding my click. This is weird. Looks like there's some problem. Let me just try check that again. Usually what it does is when you have this click trigger, it would invoke this specific event handler, whatever that is there inside this once you occur once this event is happening. So let me say now I'm using my left click, right? And then I have my selector which tells I'm trying to click on this new document. Okay, and why is this role checkbox there? Okay, I'm not sure. Let me retry with this. Role is checkbox. Okay. Folder view book one. Let me rename this with a star maybe. That should help. Looks like there is some problem with the updated version. Version is 2.3, right? Okay. What is up? Is there a problem with the selector? No, it doesn't work at all. Oh my goodness. Let me close this and reopen UiPath. This is not the case. The first time that I'm seeing such a thing in UiPath. Okay, let's get started. Project and open user activities. And then you have this click trigger and you indicate on screen to the specific element. Okay, and when you click that, you ask people to just give you a message box. Just run that. Left click here, left click there. No, it doesn't work. Okay, I have a refresh. Give my left click. Design, and these are from my user events. Okay, let me just give a try for the other thing. Probably if that is also not working, then it should be a problem with the UI path. and this, and user events on key press element. Okay, let us save this and run. Let me say I want to copy that. I give a control C, it doesn't work. Okay, looks like there's some problem with this. Control C, it doesn't work. Okay. Okay, anyway, let me just try this out. I don't know why this isn't working. This usually works. So basically what it does is if you ask them, robot to check for this specific activity. So probably you can use your click, on click element or key press element or on click image or on monitor mouse or on monitor keyboard. This should usually work. So probably when the robot identifies that specific activity which you are monitoring for appears, and then it would go into your event handler and then execute whatever is there inside your event handler. So that should happen probably. So if I say control C in my activity and I give a selector and tell if I'm giving a control C on this, then execute this. So that is what this small piece of code does. So it should be doing that, but probably I don't know why it is not actually doing this thing what we are looking for. Let us give another try. So you have this on click, yes, monitor events, and then you are trying to check for what is this left button, and then you go and check for if I'm clicking on this, if I'm clicking on that, then the event handler will, what does it do? It will just give me a message box. Yes, it should do this. Run this user activities. I left click on anything, nothing works. has even opened that. Left click, left click, left click, left click. No, it doesn't work. Okay, anyways, I'll try to find out what exactly is the problem. Is it a problem with the UiPath or with installation or with my code? So let us see what next is left for us, excluding this. So we are done with debugging and we are done with your user events. We are yet to see, and debugging, image automation done. Okay, we are left with this FTP and database. Okay, so those are pretty simple and straightforward. Let us see them for now. So when do we use this database and FTP? So if you have a database that is probably Oracle database or SQL database on your server, and then you want to extract information from the database or pass a query onto the database, right? So usually how do you do that? You open your SQL editor, probably one of your regular editors that you have, and then you query to that SQL database and you'll get a response, right? So how do you do that in a this thing on a UiPath? Okay, we don't have that here. So execute query. Okay, we don't have. Probably we should import this packages. Okay, it is not yet installed. That is why we are not able to have those activities available. So let us download that. Okay, it is downloaded. Okay, yes. What is this execute query? So in case if you are querying a query to the database, which would return a data table. So let me say if you are giving a query to data table, something like select star from this table where your age is greater than 16. Okay, so that will give you a data table which has all the records that has the field age greater than 16, right? So in that case you have a return query there, or you have a return data table there. So in that case you will be using this execute query. So what do you pass into this configure connection? You can create a string that will hold the complete details of your database. Probably it would be something like your let me show you that also. Right, so when you give your configure connection, you'll give you a complete connection string. So what all do you have in your connection string? You'll have the name of the data table, and second you will have the password for your data table, the username, the password, and the type of data table that it is, and the name of the table. So once you have all those variables in a string, you can just pass that string variable into this established connection, and you will tell what type of database it is. Is it a Oracle database or a SQL database or any O database or any other database, right? So once you have that, so this will output a variable that will have the that will that will hold the connection, right? So you will pass that connection into this execute query. Okay, and then you will give the complete query here. Probably if you have the connection established and you want to find all from the database, so what do? You give select star from name of the data table, right? So once you do that, the complete data table, whatever your query is going to return, that will be stored in the variable that you're going to create here. So this would be very similar to the data table that you will get when you read from an Excel file, right? So when you read from an Excel file, all the data from an Excel file is read into a format of variable called data table, correct? So when you give select star from name of the data table in this query, that is you're expecting a data table to be returned by this query. So in all such cases, you will execute this execute query. And in the other cases, if you're not expecting anything return, probably something like add a row to a data table or probably delete a row with specific conditions to your data table. In that case, the data table will not be returned. Instead, the data table will be just modified. In that case, you will use this execute non-query. This will not have the number of, this will not have the output data table. Instead, it will have how many records have been affected. So this will give you the list of the records that have been affected with this non-query. Probably if you're telling delete all records that are having age less than 15, okay, from a data table. So in your data table, you have 15 records maybe. So all those 15 records will be listed in your output. Is that clear? So this is pretty straightforward with respect to your Oracle and SQL databases. You will just have to configure the connection. And once you have that done, you will just have to execute your existing query that you normally do on a SQL client. Okay. And then, oh, just give me a second. Okay. And then the next thing probably is FTP. Yes. Okay. So just as how we have seen, okay. Oh, sorry. So do we have this FTP installed? No. So for any kind of activities that we use in the class and you will not find them available in your system, all you have to do is just download this thing. All you have to do is go into your this thing and then download. Okay, so you have this FTP activities here, get this installed. These, so all the activities that I'm currently installing and showing you are the base or the most important activities that I'll be using for creating in many projects. So this is taking some time to install. Okay, now this is installed. So now when you go and type in your FTP, you get all the activities that are available in your FTP. So what is this FTP and how does it help us? So if you have a specific file on your file transfer protocol or any of your shared point, which is not physically present on your system. So let me say if you have any values that are available, any data that is available on your system, it would be either on my hard disk or in any of my documents or downloads and all this folder, which also falls under my hard disk, right? So just consider if you have the data available in any of your shared drive. It is neither in your hard disk nor anywhere on your local cloud. Instead, it is on a specific shared drive. So how do you do that? So for that, to just check if the file exists, you will, sorry, to check if the folder exists, you will just use this directory exists. Here, instead of just giving the path, so usually in our path exists, we will give something like C colon dash, probably our local folder path, say documents, and then say UiPath dot xml example. Okay, so this is how we usually give in terms of our local path. But if it is a shared point path or anything else, you will have to use this FTP, which is file transfer protocol. Here all you have to do is you just have to give your SSHP colon, let me say, cognizant .com slash UiPath slash project slash, let me say, some name, probably your HDFC Bank slash details. Okay, probably this is the name of the folder from where I like have to extract my details. So here, instead of going and opening that folder and then checking if there is an error or not, all you can simply do is just use this directory exists, and this will output a path called boolean, which will tell me if it's a true or false. So this is the path. So this is the variable name. So let me say bool ftp path exists. Let me give a save. Probably the path that I gave now will never exist. So now if we give an F and run, say bool underscore ftp path exists. Just give a message, box and cell path exists. And you say path exists. And when I run this, it would technically just, okay, what exactly is the error? You got your output. Probably the error is coming from this path itself. So now I'll use this log activities. This will tell me what exactly has caused this error. Okay. Okay, so it tells this basically this path doesn't exist at all. Okay, let us try giving a local path. Maybe. Oh, I'm really sorry that I'm used to Python and I give forward slashes most of the times when I teach for UiPath classes. Okay, looks like probably we are not giving this remote path. That is why we are getting this error. Let us check for path exists. If that will accept the path that we have given, probably at least that, because we need to have a connection established if we are checking for FTP. Okay, now that doesn't work. Control C and then go and give Control V and then set a folder and then say this is bool. Let me just give a Control D here. run. Okay, it says this path exists, right? So let us replace this with slash Sangeet. Probably this should not be existing. Okay, it doesn't, it says path doesn't exist. So similarly, if you have a connection established to your actual path, then you can just give your path exists from your FTP and then look for that specific activity and then say it that if the if the directory exists. So similarly, if you have any files available on your path, you can just download those files, give your remote path or the path of the complete absolute folder from where you have your all the source files. And then this is the local path, probably it could be your documents or a folder on your desktop or anywhere else. And then it would download all the files or the list of files, whatever that are available. And if you want to override the existing file, if it has same name, you can just give your override. And also if you want to create the path, that whatever local file path what you're using, and if it is not available, you can use this create. And also include subfolders if there are more than just a single, instead of having simple files, even if you have subfolders, you can just use this include subfolders, right? And just as how you check for your directory exists on your system, even on your FTP you can use this file exists. And then you have seen download files, and the next one that we'll see is upload files. So this will give you the local path from where all the files inside that path will be uploaded. So this will have the path to where all your input files will be coming in from, and this is the remote path or the FTP or the file upload path, which will take all the outputs, or which will save all your inputs from your input path into your remote path. Okay, file exists is similar to directory exists, but this will look for file. And if you want to delete any file, especially from your shared folder, you can just give your remote path here, and this would delete the file from that file transfer protocol or your shared point, right? So if you see, if you just look for delete, you would have one value to delete one regular file. So whatever delete that you have from your system.file, this would delete the files on your system alone. It cannot delete files from your SharePoint or your or any of your file transfer protocol supporting environments. Okay, so that is why you have specific delete from your FTP and one specific delete from your file. So this cannot delete a file from your FTP, while your FTP delete can delete file from either your FTP or even from your local machine or anywhere else. Okay. Any questions on this? Today's class should have actually been on this specific user events. I don't know why that isn't working properly. I will have to go back and check with either version or any other system that I get hands on to see if the user event works, but this doesn't work on this specific system at all. Let me give this book one. Okay, when this happens, you go to your event handler and then you say, are you sure you want to click on this? So this is what should usually happen. So when I click, robot is running. Okay, refresh, left click, I do, and nothing happens. This is not what actually is expected. So when we click on this left click, this should eventually trigger your actual user activities, whatever we have been assigned inside this event handler. So did we change anything? It is your left click. Okay, I said block event, key modifier, there's nothing that is required. Synchronous and asynchronous, that's okay. Either way it should work. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, probably looks like there is some problem. I'll try with another system, and probably that should give me some explanation about why this is working and why isn't it. Let me go back here and indicate on screen, and I say Okay. Looks like this is one of the problems because, okay, no, that should be because of the Edge browser. Let me remove my Edge browser and go to my fully supported Internet Explorer and then select this Google search, then run. Okay, Robo is up. This works here. Oh man. So when we run this, this works. So if you see here, you clicked on book1.xlsx. So this was something that a message box that have worked. You clicked on, I replace this with Google search. So let us check this. So when I run this, the robot is running. So I click on anywhere else. It will not be a problem. I click here, I click here. But when I click on this specific Google search, I will have a message box that will tell, hey, you clicked on Google search icon. Are you sure you want to select it? Right? So this is a small piece of activity that will help you to identify if the user has done a specific activity. So just that to show you that the robo has identified that you have done something which the robot is looking for. We have used a message box, but instead what we usually have is we'll have a log or a mail that tells the user has clicked on some specific activity which is not supposed to. Let me try this back with again. Oh, sorry. With my book one and see why isn't it working. Okay, it never works on my desktop. Probably it is because of the Windows 10 or I'm not sure, but it never does. Okay, so let us use only the thing that works at least for the demo purposes. So let me say you want to click on your Google search. So you have selected your Google search as your click trigger. And so what does this user events do? So when you click on some specific activity that you show inside your click trigger, the moment the robot identifies that you have clicked something that is specified with this click trigger, it will go to your event handler and execute everything that is present here. So one way that you can do is you can have a message box telling the user or so you can either block that event or even let it go forward. So if you say if you block that event will never occur at all. So let me say if I want to click on this, it will never let me click on that at all. So let me say here if I say iPhone X, right? So let me say I want to type into iPhone X before I check for this event. Probably that will just give you an idea about how this block event works. So you have your iPhone X here, and when I'm trying to click this, okay, when I try to click on this Google search, it will directly tell you, oh, hey, you clicked on Google search, you want to select it, right? Let me use this escape. Probably that will remove all suggestions. Okay, so I have this iPhone X. The moment I go and manually click on this Google search, it will tell, hey, you clicked on Google search, I'll show you want to continue with it, right? So when I click on OK, if you see the browser has not moved on to the next stage at all. I clicked on this, but it did not move. It just showed me a message box. That is because I said to block that event. So in this click box, I said to block that event. So if I am removing this block event, it would allow the activity to be, executed or go forward, and then it will just show that message. So let me go to my earlier page. Sorry, next page. Okay, yes, and now run. Okay, this has given me iPhone X. When I click on Google search, it has given me a message box just like the previous case. Yes, but when I click on OK, it would go to the next page. So if you see, the Google search has actually happened, right? The problem with this is, though you are able to, show a prompt to the user, but still the activity, whatever is being clicked here, is happening. If you do not want that activity to happen, then you're always requested to use this block event. Okay. And also I will just check why isn't it working on my desktop. Probably should be some problem with either my desktop or the hardware setup that I have. I'm just using a wireless mouse and keyboard as of for time being, because my in-screen things are not working fine. Probably that could be one of the reasons. But anyways, I'll just debug that and just give you an update about why isn't it working in the next class. So anyways, you understand how this monitor events work. Probably at least this click. So we have seen from the user events on click element. So we'll see the other things tomorrow. Is that fine? Meanwhile, I also fix the issue that is causing a little trouble for me to display what exactly will happen using this. Yes, is everything fine? Okay. Okay, then let's close the session for today. And everybody have a good night and see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.